That's why. Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to Sri Sri Radha Vinobihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Sri Vrindavan Dham.
Jai.
Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Panu Gauri Guru Varga ki jai. Pati Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandan Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vinobihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So we will start with Mangalacharan, page 1 of this book, Sri Gaudiya Gita Guccha, Vandeham Shri Guru, Shri Yuddha Padakamalam, Vandeham, Vandeham.
Shri Shri
केशवो नित्यनामिने अतिमर्त्यचरित्राय स्वश्रितानां शपानिने जीवन्मुखे सदर्ताय श्रीराम प्रेमदायिने नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतये श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वतीति नामिने श्रीवर्षभारमे देवी दयिताय कृपाभये कृष्ण सम्बन्धविज्ञान दयिने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वलप्रेमाढ्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिदा श्रीगौरकरुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोऽस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनपालिने रूपानुगव्यनुभावो सिद्धान्तध्वन्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भारसम्बोधे पदम्बुजायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगम्बराय ते गौराविर्भावभूतेस्त्वं निर्देष्टा सधनप्रिया वैष्णवसर्वभौमश्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरद्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयकान्सुरतो अङ्गो मम मन्दं मतेर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदं मोज राधामदनमोहनो दिव्यवृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमदो श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्रीराधा श्रीरघोविन्ददेव प्रेष्ठानिभिः सेव्यमानो स्मरामि श्रीमन्रासरसारम्भी वंशिवत्तत्तस्तिकः कर्षण्येनुस्वरैर्गोपी गोपीनाथश्रियेषु नः वृन्दायै तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्रे नमो नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयकैरवचन्द्रिकावितरणं विद्यामधुजीवनम् आनन्दं गुरुवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृताश्वा Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rameva Kevalam, Valo Nastyeva, 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 Gatiranyaka. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Which one? Gurudev कृपा करके page 360 in the songbook.
Or Jiva Pavana Prabhu mercifully posts the bhajans in the comment section. So scroll down to the most recent or up to the most recent comment and you will see the bhajan should be posted there. Gurudev Kripa Karke, page 360 in the songbook or in the comment section. Thank you, Jiva Pavana Prabhu.
Thank you. Dandavat pranam all Vaishnavas.
Dandavat pranams.
Dandava Pranam.
Gurudev
Kave Sri Chaitanya More Korivena Doya.
What is it?
Kave Sri Chaitanya More 75.
There's also a request for Chintamani Moy and also
Indra
Chaitanya Bole and Ali Mobilage and Radhika Charanare.
Wow. Okay, we got a lineup today. We got some requests and questions. Okay, so Kave Sri Chaitanya More, page 75, KABESRICAITANYAMORE. Kave Sri Chaitanya More. Kave Sri Chaitanya More, Korivena Doya. Bhaveyami Pai Go Vaisnava Pado Chaya. So we've been requested to sing Doyal Nitai Chaitanya Bole, Nachre Amar Man, Dancing on My Mind, Dancing on My Mind, 173. So this bhajan's a little bit difficult to sing because it does jump back and forth a little bit, so you'll have to follow very carefully. Dayal Nitai Chaitanya Bole, Dayal Nitai Caitanya Bole. If you don't have a songbook, then Jiva Pavana Prabhu, is he there?
Yes, yes.
Dandava Pranam. We'll post it, and you can just scroll to the latest comment in the thread, and you will have the bhajan there.
And Honey Goswami is also posting the page numbers. So
Okay.
173.
Thank you, Honey Goswami. Just for a second.
What page?
Maybe count them.
I can do it for you.
It's got all parentheses there. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Dailanitai Chaitanya Bole Nachre Amar Man Dailanitai Chaitanya Bole Dailanitai Chaitanya Bole Nachre Amar Man Nachre Amar Man Nachre Amar Nachre Amar Nachre Amar Nitai Chaitanya Bole Nachre Amar Odoya Nitai Chaitanya Bole Nachre Amar Mordoya Tonai Mordoya Tonai Marge Prema De Mordoya Tonai Marge Jai.
So there's also a request for Mama Mandire, if not today, tomorrow.
Mama Mana Mandire, maybe tomorrow.
For sure tomorrow.
For sure tomorrow. Whatever Sudevi said.
So now? Chintamani more?
Chintamani Moy, Radha Kunda Tata.
And then Radhi Puchuranarayana.
Just so you know, I'm not accustomed to singing all of these bhajans every day, so just please bear with me. Especially that one, Nitai Chaitanya Bole, and all the ones with parentheses, a lot of parentheses. It's a little difficult.
So page 116, Chintamani Moy.
116.
And let me just say that it's even harder to repeat. So.
The only time we've heard this one sung was by Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Many, many years ago.
The one who's residing in Delhi now. And he sang it for Gurudev, and it was so beautiful and so fancy. And Gurudev really loved it, and so did we. But I don't know if we have the capacity. We will try our best. Sudevi, she knows the tune. Let's see.
I'm not singing it, you guys. Someone could like. And after this, we're going to sing Radhika Charanarenu, right? Or a Krishna bhajan first. Or is this Krishna?
Chintamani Mohan. Chintamani Mohan. Radha Kundalata. Tahe Kunja Shwata Shwata. Chintamani
দিবে দাসী কেমনে করিবে প্রাণ কেমনে করিবে প্রাণ চিন্তামণি রাধা তাহে কুঞ্জ শত
being way too intimate to sing on a public forum.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, because this is also even feeling more intimate than those. So I'm wondering why this one is okay and the others aren't, as I was reading along.
Technically, we shouldn't have sung this on a public forum. I was just kind of absorbed in the mindset of sitting in front of Gurudev during Kartik, with all of the devotees there in the month of Srimati Radhika, Urja Brat, during Rajmandal Parikrama, and so that's where I was. But because this is going out to a global audience and we don't know who or where is tapping in because it is public.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because Jiva Pavana Prabhu asked for Dekite Dekite.
Yes.
And this is on par, if not even more intimate.
And so, I was just in a, how do you say? In a narrow mindset. But generally, this is more for internal prayer, internal bhajan. This should be meditated upon or sung with a very, very close-knit group of like-minded Sajati Ashai Snigdha devotees, or in our own bhajan space, where no other eyes can see us as we're chanting and crying out. I don't know if you've seen today, Sudevi posted a very beautiful quote from Srila Gurudev about Harinam Prabhu and why we split the mantra in half. That was one of the big questions. Why do you guys split the mantra in half? That was one of the questions that we used to get all of the time. And one devotee was really pestering me about it, so I went into Prabhupada's vintage recordings and pulled out all of the places where Srila Prabhupada was splitting the mantra in half. He would say, Bolo Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So all of these places, I made a copy for him and I gave it to him. And he was quite surprised, he didn't know. Srila Gurudev explained that Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur would split the mantra in half, or even if you look at all of the commentaries of our acharyas, they have split the mantra in not only halves, but in syllables, or in one word at a time. This Hare means this Krishna means that. And if you look at that small pamphlet, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it has the commentaries on Mahamantra of about 5 different of our prominent Rasik Acharyas. The reason I'm telling you this is because in between chanting Hari Nam, as one is crying and praying, then these bhajans can also manifest in our private space, in our private crying and in our private calling. But they're not really meant for public dispersion, if you want to call it that. They're very intimate and they're very deep moods of the bhajan of Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, what he's giving us for our own internal bhajan. So technically, yes, like what Srila Gurudev said about Dekite, or even Gandharva Samprarthanashtakam. This is not necessarily for public. It can be that maybe someone in the world has in a previous lifetime come to this point of crying like this, and just hearing the first name word Chintamani or Radhakund, something might awaken within them. But really that is for the pure Vaishnavas to give. And so we've seen how our Srila Prabhupada, when he traveled around the world, how he preached to the general public, but everything was kept in his books. All of these beautiful things, these beautiful prayers and moods were kept within his books.
It's only a few of us here.
Yes, I know there's 24 watching now, but by the end of tomorrow you'll see maybe 500 or 600 may have clicked on it. And so I'm usually very hesitant to sing these publicly. In Kartik time maybe, in the setting with only those who are actually practicing and endeavoring devotees. But because I don't know who comes on, these are very intimate. So for those of you who are maybe new, just take that into mind. And I'm using the word new, meaning first or second time watching, that this is like the deepest, most valuable treasure in the hearts of our Guru Varga. And we are praying for even one drop of that mood to enter our hearts so that we can also aspire like them. But it's actually not something for general dissemination.
Okay, thank you.
I was hoping you wouldn't ask that question.
Okay. All right, Radhika Charanarenu, page 112.
I love that bhajan. Who requested that?
Hani Goswami.
Hani Goswami.
Hani Goswamini.
Radhika Charana Renu.
Radhika Charanarenu.
112.
Well, if we're still doing this at Radhastami time, I'm going to demand all of those to be done.
Okay. Where did this go off?
Or Janmastami. Is your ringer on if it rings?
Oh, I don't know. No? Yes, ringer's on.
Page 112, Radhika Charanarenu, Radhika Charana, Carana, Renu.
It's only 5:58. We can do Krishna bhajan. Sudevi Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande, then Radhika Charana Renu.
Oops. Page 3. 343. And then we'll do Radhika Charanari. First we'll do Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Sorry, Vaishnavas. Dear devotees. So page 343, Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Not too low. Sorry, don't confuse.
page 112. Radhika charono bhushana koriyatanu Radhika charananu Anayase
376.
376. It starts with Ali, A-L-I, Mohe, M-O-H-E. Sometimes they pronounce it, what, money?
M-A-M-H-A-N-E, which is money.
It's very Brajabhash, we can't do it.
Isn't it like Rajasthani or something?
Mame, I think when the Brajabasis do it.
Yeah.
Is your money?
I don't think it's going you.
Ali Mohe Lage Vrindavani.
Ali Mobilage Vrindavanani ko.
Ali Mohe Lage Vrindavani.
Ali Mobilage Vrindavanani ko.
Lage Vrindavani Goswami Mohe Lage Vrindavani.
Lage Vrindavanani ko. Sabhire Mobilage Vrindavanani ko.
Ali Mohe Lage Vrindavani.
Ali Mobilage Vrindavanani ko. Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare I don't know how to turn it back.
Hare Krishna. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadave Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktāya Tadbhaktāya Namo Namaha Ajnanatimiraandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Namine Nama Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Ninatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandava Pranam thousands of times at the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad, Astottara Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaja. And the same thousands of Dandava Pranam at the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad, Astottara Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And to all of our Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga, and also to all Vaishnavas, past, present, and future, including all of those who are present with us today, I offer my Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Dandavat Pranam.
So beginning today, we have some very good questions from Braja and Rupa. They are 5 years old, I believe. But very good questions. I have to tell you something. I remember when we were little, sometimes people would look at the children and think, they're just little kids. But actually, the children had some very amazing questions, and they could understand the answers as well. We don't know who has come into that form and from where, how far developed in bhakti they have actually gone in previous lifetimes to take birth in a family of devotees and hear about Krishna, hear about Mahaprabhu and Rupa Goswami with a one-pointed mood, ekantik bhav to one aspect. This is very rare to have that kind of possibility, samskar, impression, that one would continue with that kind of focus. As I've told previously, even many persons who grow up in India, even in Vrindavan, even with a particular Thakurji, still may have so much faith in so many other devas. So this is not considered ekantik bhakti. If you're doing pujas to this one and pujas to that one and this one and that one, then you're not exclusive or ananya bhakta. So it's quite rare when someone can be one-pointed to Radha Krishna. Sachinandan Gaurahari is not different than Radha Krishna. Radharaman is not different from Radha Krishna or Sachinandan Gaurahari. But to have that kind of opportunity and to begin with that kind of opportunity in one's life is not an ordinary occurrence. And so, as they say from the mouths of babes, you never know what will manifest. This is the question from 5-year-olds, twins. 1. How do devotees attain prema bhakti? That's a question. How do devotees learn shloks? That's another good question. One thing I've realized is there's no bad question. There's not a bad question. Questions are always good, as long as they're related to bhakti. These are very good questions. One amazing question was, a devotee gave his sister a sweet and said, just take it. And she said, what is it called? Because she said, this is simply wonderful. What's it called? And he said, it's called a simply wonderful. She said, no, I just said it's simply wonderful. What do you call it? And he said, our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, called it a simply wonderful. That was Punya's sister. He gave her the sweet. She wasn't interested. She didn't want to have anything to do. But when her question, what is this called? It is simply wonderful. And then he said, it's called a simply wonderful. Prabhupada called it simply wonderful. That was it. That was the...
He knows what he's talking about.
That was it. That was the trigger that she needed to become a devotee. How about that? So no question is bad if it's related to bhakti. So, and then another question. Oh, someone said, my dad is also eager. Oh, how did Krishna become blue? And how did Krishna become the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Wow, what deep questions. Jai. Just so you know, these questions were also in my mind and heart when I was little, so I really appreciate them. Now I have an opportunity to contemplate them even more, so thank you for your beautiful questions. How do devotees attain prema bhakti? There's one bhajan that we sing for Shri Guru. It starts with Shri Guru Charana Padma. And in there it says, Prema bhakti jaha hoite avidya vinasha jate. What is prema bhakti and how does one attain prema bhakti? Only by the mercy of the pure devotee, who is the representative of Srimati Radhika, whose function it is to engage all souls in the service of Krishna. This is how prema bhakti will manifest. First, in the form of the first particle of prema bhakti, which is known as Shraddha, faith, but not just any faith. The firm conviction that by practicing bhakti, or devotion to Krishna, automatically everything else is taken care of. I have nothing else to worry about.
Nothing to do, Baba.
Nothing to do, Baba, nothing to do, as Srila Govinda Maharaj would say. So prema bhakti is the function of Hladini Shakti, the function of giving transcendental pleasure and happiness to Krishna for his benefit. For Krishna. And that is the pure form. Prem. From prem comes sneha, man, pranaya, rag, anurag, bhav, mahabhav, modan, madan. So many different levels, millions of different levels, but they're mentioned with these names. But prem is that point at which the material body, material consciousness, and everything completely cease to exist any longer, and one is saturated with divine love for Krishna on the level of the soul. So the question was how to attain it. The way to attain prema bhakti is by the association of Krishna's pure devotees. Krishna bhakti janma mool hoy sadhu sangha. The root cause of the birth of Krishna bhakti, or devotion to Krishna manifesting in the heart. Devotion to Krishna is expressed as the desire to serve Krishna. This is association with pure devotees. And from this, gradually in their association, as this prema bhakti is taking over, automatically all ignorance is destroyed. Avidya vinasha jate. All ignorance is destroyed. And gradually that shraddha grows. It continues to grow to nishtha, firm conviction.
Maybe you can talk about Prahlad a little bit being 5.
Then to ruchi, taste, transcendental taste. Then ashakti, transcendental attachment. Bhav, transcendental loving moods, sentiments. Bhav. Then it comes to prem, transcendental, divine love. And within prem, all sorts of transcendental, divine manifestations are taking place, but that it is no longer within the mental or bodily conception at all. It is on the level of the soul. So gradually Shraddha grows. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, "E Rupe," he's speaking to Rupa Goswami, "Brahmanda Brahmite Kon Bhagyavana Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beach." That the jivas, the souls, are wandering throughout the material universes. And any jiva, any soul who is extremely fortunate, by the mercy of Krishna, receives Guru Krishna in their life, and by the mercy of Guru Krishna, that first form of Krishna who manifests in our life, Sri Guru, the desire to serve Krishna is awakened in our heart. That is Bhakti Lata Beach, manifested as Krishna Seva Vasaram. The seed of Bhakti means the desire to serve Krishna. This is manifest in the heart by the mercy of the spiritual master. So the question was simply, how does Prema Bhakti, how do devotees attain Prema Bhakti? This is by the association of the pure devotees, as we have seen in the case of Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj was in the womb of his mother for 60,000 years. That's a long time. While his father Hiranyakashipu was doing intense austerities. Sudevi, would you like to say something? While his father Hiranyakashipu was doing intense austerities, his mother was waiting. Prahlad's mother was waiting. The demigods had tried to kidnap his mother because they thought, ooh, there's a demon inside her womb. Narada Muni stopped them and said, no, there's a great devotee, Prahlad, inside her womb. And so for that entire duration of time, Narada Muni was speaking about the glories of the Lord. Not only to the mother, but also to the baby in the womb. And by this association over time, this child, this baby in the womb, became affected and developed these impressions of bhakti. So from his birth, he was already a pure devotee by the association of Narada Muni. And also by his association, whomever he touched, whomever he spoke to. Not all of them. His father didn't accept what he was saying, but his friends at school did accept what he was saying. And he told them, why waste your time? You don't know how much time you have. So by his association, they accepted the path of Krishna Bhakti, especially the process of kirtan. So they began doing kirtan, and by this their hearts were purified and they became devotees of the Lord. The Prema Bhakti, or divine love, is manifested by the association of the pure devotees of the Lord. This one is really good. How do devotees learn shlokas? I would like to adjust that question to how or what is the best way to learn shlokas. Now this is something I have a lot of experience with, because when I was young, when I was 5 years old, I went to Gurukul. I didn't live with my parents anymore. I lived in the ashram with my teachers, and then from there I would go to day school with other teachers, and they would teach us Bhagavad Gita, they would teach us English and math, and some later on science and other things, and also a little Sanskrit and some verses, shlokas. So when I was 5, I learned Brahma Samhita, at least the shlokas. How should we learn shlokas? I'll tell you one thing that I regret. I regret very, very much that instead of teaching me the most essential shlokas that our Guru Varga used for preaching the conceptions of Krishna consciousness, my teachers did not understand that I had a limited capacity. And so I was learning shlokas in a linear way through Bhagavad Gita. There are thousands and thousands of shlokas in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. But the ones that are recited the most frequently, the most often, these are the ones that our Guru Varga have used and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to establish the basic principles of Krishna Bhakti, of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So my understanding now, after having gone through all of that and feeling now like, oh, I'm getting too old to learn shlokas very fast. When I was 5, I could pick them up like this. When I was 15, it became much more difficult. By the time I was 20, it was much more difficult. By the time I was 35, I would have to remember them or practice them once a month. And now, how old am I? I'm over 45, I think. So now it's very difficult to learn shlokas. It's very difficult. So, how to learn them? Especially the Sanskrit shlokas, which are mentioned in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. These shlokas are essential, foundational shlokas full of all tattva. They're like building blocks of the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, which is the supreme or supermost philosophy, which can accommodate almost any other philosophy and which can also answer almost any question that we could come up with. Also those essential verses which Bhaktivedanta Thakur has brought up in Jaiva Dharma from all different scriptures and Puranas. So we have Srimad Bhagavatam, and there's nothing to be discarded or thrown out, but still you will see there's a shloka book of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And in there you see the ones he's quoted the most often. Why did he quote them the most often? Because they were the best for preaching. Our Gurudev also, there's a shloka book. I made a recording of Sri Shlokamritam Bindu. And those are the most essential shlokas that he quoted the most often. It's freely downloadable. If anyone would like it, I'll put a download link in the comments today. And also that book, the little book, Sri Shlokamritam Bindu, that is our Gurudev's most frequently cited essential shlokas. Then there's another one called Gaudiya Kantahara. That is the most essential shlokas of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada and his disciples, what they utilized for preaching. So it is so powerful, those essential ones. I recommend you learn those first. But one way to learn is also to learn how to pronounce the words. If you learn what an A is with a line on top, the letters, the S with the dot or a slash over it, the M with a dot on top, what do these symbols represent? How are these sounds? Then the pronunciation will come properly. If we don't have the pronunciation properly, then it becomes very difficult to actually flow when you're trying to learn the shlokas. So another way to learn, and you see it with all of our Guru Varga, they sing their verses. They sing them. So there's a tune. It's very easy to remember songs, even if it doesn't mean anything. If you have a song and it's just a tune with a da-da-da-da-da-da-da, right? There's so many songs like that, and everyone knows the la-di-da-di-da-di-da part because it's musical. So that's another way to remember them. And then one thing that I have started doing, which I find to be very beneficial for myself, is to really try to understand the words, break them down, and their meanings. And I like to go from the end of the shlok. Usually the last line is the punch line, the main point, the essence of the verse. And so I go from that point, and then I go backward. Why is this verse so important? And instead of memorizing it, Gurudev didn't like that we just memorized. He also would always say, in your own words, what does this mean? So, to not just memorize a translation. Of course, the verse we should memorize, and the location of the verse in Scripture. This is important. What is the verse and where does it come from? Because as Vaishnavas, or as aspiring Vaishnavas, we should always quote Shastra. Vaishnavas are known as Shastra Chakshusha, seeing through the eyes of scripture. So we don't just concoct things off the top of our heads. If we concoct things, then we end up getting ourselves into a very dangerous situation. It also sets a precedent for others to concoct things, and we've seen the kind of damage that happens to the spiritual life of devotees when they realize at a certain point that so many things were just made up or concocted. So we always must have a foundation in Shastra. Guru Sadhu Shastra must complement one another. But in terms of learning verses, it is important for us. Not everyone has the capacity, or they do, but not everyone has the interest. The thing is that everyone has particular interests, and some people have strong suits in one way and they're not so strong in other ways. But I've seen it happen when someone falls in love with another person. They learn their language like that. It's amazing what someone can do when they're inspired enough. So if one is really attached to Krishna, if one is really attached to Guru, then they will make that endeavor to learn the language of Krishna and the language of Guru. Of course, the language of Krishna and the language of Guru is really love and affection. So one time Gurudev told one devotee, I was trying to learn Hindi. He said, you can learn, but the other one, he said, don't even waste your time. Don't bother.
You can tell them who it is.
It was a Maharaja, so I'm not going to name him.
Oh, I thought it was me.
No, it was also Sudevi. Believe it or not, all of my years of reading Hindi and trying to learn it and everything, Sudevi just automatically picked it up. She understands it sometimes even better than me. So, for one who endeavors to serve Srila Gurudev with their heart and soul and develops loyalty, automatically all knowledge manifests within their heart. Yasya deve para bhaktir gita deve tataguru tasyaite katita hyarta prakashante mahatmanaha. This would mean that one can understand their Gurudev even if he's speaking in another language, because he's manifesting those tattvas in one's heart. But still, for us, we should make that endeavor to learn those verses, essential verses, which can prove the points of Shastra. So the essential shlokas. If they try to make you learn all of the verses of Bhagavad Gita in a row, some people can do that. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada had that capacity. Some people have memorized all the verses of Bhagavatam by heart. When I was 5, I learned all the verses of Brahma Samhita, but I didn't know the meaning of any of them. And also the verses of Bhagavad Gita, I learned so many, but I didn't know the meanings. Only after I came to my Gurudev, and then I heard him chanting those same verses, then he was giving the deeper meaning of those verses. Then I realized that those verses for me were like empty pots. And Gurudev was filling them with so many wonderful preparations. Each pot he was filling a different flavor of anything. This one had lasagna, and this one had ice cream, and this one had... Each one he was giving it so much substance, so much meaning, so much flavor, so much taste and ras. Actually, verses are not just verses. According to Shastra, each verse is a personality. It is like a person. So we can pray to that verse. Please manifest in my heart. Please reveal yourself to me. I understand that you are transcendental, that you are descending, you are transcendental sound vibration, you are not mundane. We just sang that verse, that prayer before, Chintamani moy radha kunda tata. Chintamani. Chintamani means, like in Vrindavan, Chintamani prakara sadmasu kalpa vriksha lakshavriteshu surabhir avipalayantam. Chintamani means every particle of dust in Vrindavan is transcendental, and therefore it is conscious. And because of that, it is conscious of what? It is conscious of Krishna. And it has love and affection for Krishna. It is made of love and affection for Krishna. Therefore, every particle of dust, being transcendental, has the capacity to give whatever we desire, including Krishna prema. So Chintamani means, Chinta means thought, and Mani means jewel. Means whatever you think of, it can manifest that. But what is the greatest jewel? Krishna Prem. Every tree is kalpataru, kalpavriksha. Means it also can fulfill any desire, because it is also conscious. It is also made of love for Krishna. And therefore it can awaken love for Krishna. But it can fulfill any desire you have. Same with Harinam Prabhu. Every cow, Surabhi, also, they can fulfill any desire. Kamadenu. They can fulfill any desire. But Krishna's cows, they can also awaken Krishna Prem in your heart. Harinam Prabhu is also like this. Nama Chintamani Krishna. It is non-different from Krishna, and it is also Chintamani. Whatever desire you have, Harinam can fulfill, including awakening Prem, transcendental, divine love and affection for Krishna within your heart. But it can also give you wealth, it can give you health, it can give you sense gratification, it can give you name and fame and position, prestige, power, and all of these things. So when we approach these transcendental persons and transcendental verses, transcendental places, we should pray only for that one thing. Like Gurudev said yesterday, only what is your goal? My goal is Radha Dasyam. So how to learn shlokas? Pray to that verse. You'll see that that verse will take on an active, living nature. And it will dance in front of you, and it will give you more and more verses. And each one of those verses also will dance in front of you. If you are applying those verses in the service of Guru, Gauranga, and Radha and Krishna, that is their only purpose and function. Please manifest in my heart, and we will help each other to serve Radha and Krishna. I know it's audacitous to say that, but what is the verse's function? It's there. It wants to be utilized in service to Krishna. Every flower is waiting to be utilized in service to Krishna. Every fruit is waiting to be utilized in service to Krishna. And every soul, really, internally, is waiting to be utilized in service of Krishna. Every atom in all of creation is waiting for that, because that is its intrinsic nature. So if we take any verse and use that in the service of Krishna, how? By sharing that with others, so that they may also become attracted to serving Krishna. And that verse may give mercy. Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj was profusely thanking all of the devotees for coming to hear from him. Why? Because he said, I am too old. I can't do any other service. My body cannot allow me to do that. He was 90 years old. He said, the only thing I can do is speak. I can't even sit low. I have to sit on a chair. And I'm sorry that I'm sitting above you. He was apologizing. But the only service I can do now is to speak what I've heard from my Gurudev, my Guru Varga, from Guru Sadhu Shastra. Thank you for engaging me in this capacity. Otherwise, what would I do? Such humility. So the pure devotee is like this. Also the Shastra is like this. They will be thankful. Thank you for engaging me in the service of Krishna. Excuse me 1 second. I told you,
Hello?
don't call me at 5 o'clock or any of these times, please. Don't call me. Don't call me. Thank you, Radhe Radhe. Every day. He's trying to sell me water. Huh? I know, he wants to sell me something else. I told him not to call me. My Hindi is apparently not very good. So, we can have a reciprocal relationship with these shlokas. That you will engage me in the service of Krishna, and I will also engage you in the service of Krishna. Sudevi, do you remember what Sarananda Swami said about Maya Devi? Can you just share it really quickly from there?
Kishori, can you just improvise right
No, just that part.
Sadhananda Prabhu or Swami was asking his disciple Vaman Das, and he said, what have you offered to Maya Devi today? And Vaman Das was thinking, well, this is the German disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And Vaman Das was thinking, well, isn't she like the enemy? Isn't she the, we don't like Maya. She's like the devil in a sense. And he said that Maya Devi has to perform such a service that even she is so shameful she can't stand in front of the Lord. And then he asked, have you given her any Harikatha? Have you told her about Krishna? Have you shared the sweet pastimes of Krishna with her? And in this way, we can make Maya Devi our friend, that she will become our well-wisher. Oh, Maya Devi, have you heard this about Krishna? To tell her something. So Sadananda Swami was showing that even when we are engaged in daily life, we can remember, we can say something. Oh, Maya Devi, do you know Krishna was here in Vrindavan, and do you know what he did? And how happy will Maya Devi be hearing the glories of Krishna? So he gave him that service, and he would ask him, what have you offered to Maya Devi today? Meaning, what Harikatha have you given her?
Beautiful. Thank you.
Sorry, I can't come in front of the camera.
It's okay. So that point is very important. Maya Devi is also a servant of Krishna, and she has to do a very sad service. But she's been ordered by the Lord, so she feels very ashamed. So instead of engaging her in thinking about or remembering nonsense things, we can also share to her things about Krishna. And this will make her so happy. And we can ask her to help us. Maya Devi, please, I know you're a devotee of Krishna. Please help me to not be in illusion. Please help me to serve Krishna. Let me offer you something about Krishna today, and you can offer me something about Krishna. We can have a beautiful relationship like this, that I understand you're a devotee of Krishna and you have this service to do. Let me tell you about Krishna, and you can also weaken your grip on me so that I can also remember Krishna. Here also, how did Krishna become blue, and how did he become the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Okay, so in our Param Gurudev, Sri Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaja's Vino Bihari Tattvashtakam. In that Ashtakam, he says something very amazing. And that Ashtakam starts with Radha Chinta Niveshena Yasya Kantir Vilopita Shri Krishna Charanam Vande Radha Lingita Vigraham. We're not going to sing it now. But here, he's speaking actually about the colors. About color. So here, Sarve Varna Yatra Vishta Gora Kantir Vikashate Sarva Varnena Hinastu Krishna Varna Prakashate. Wherever all colors exist simultaneously, that means at the same time, a golden hue is manifest. However, in the absence of all color, a black hue is manifest. Now this is actually modern science. If you understand, when something does not reflect any color, when it's absorbing everything, that's fine. They're very intelligent. Trust me, I know. So, when anything doesn't manifest any color, it means it's absorbing all light. It's not reflecting the light. Therefore, you see black. And this is like the nature of Krishna. He's Vishai Bhagavan. He's enjoying and tasting the love of everyone. So this dark complexion is the color of the enjoyer or the attractor of everything. He's supremely all attractive. That is Krishna. Who is attracting everything and keeping it all for himself? That personality is darkish complexion by nature. Who's pulling everything in? So that's why Krishna's color is blackish. According to Sri Brahma Samhita, his color is, what is it? Venum Panantam Aravinda Dalayataksham Barhavatam. Okay, so Venum Panantam Aravinda Dalayataksham. Aravinda Dalayataksham means is actually casting sidelong glances. But Venu Panantam. This is his flute. Bhagavatam samasitam buddhasandarangam. What are his limbs like? Like a monsoon rain cloud, very darkish complexion, like with a bluish hue. If you see very dark blue, black monsoon rain cloud, this is how he's compared, or sometimes to a blue sapphire, very dark, but also at the same time brilliant. Actually, there's no way materially to accurately describe a transcendental color, but anyhow, our Guru Varga have made their attempts, and then we make very feeble attempts at trying to explain what they have said. So, Krishna's nature is to attract everything. He takes and tastes all love and affection. Therefore, his complexion is darkish. But here, wherever all colors exist simultaneously, a golden hue is manifest. So whose nature it is to only give love and affection to Krishna and not to take anything from him. Maybe you've seen this experiment where you have many different colors on a round piece of cardboard, and then you put it on a top and you spin it very fast. All of those colors blend into one and you see white, or you see bright or very light hue. So whose nature it is to only give love and affection for Krishna, to Krishna for his happiness and pleasure, their complexion is naturally, spontaneously golden, or like the color of molten gold, which is so bright it's almost blinding. You cannot see it. Means you can't look, it is so bright. So that is the color of love and affection for Krishna. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi. Srimati Radhika's complexion is like this, like molten gold. And who else has this complexion? Krishna, who is trying to taste her moods. As he's tasting her moods of love and affection for Krishna, he also takes on her complexion. So therefore he becomes known as Gauranga. Means his complexion is also like hers, like molten gold. Service mood to Krishna has that complexion. So that is why Krishna is blue. Now, in another case, because once upon a time in Brahmanda Ghat, Krishna's cowherd boyfriends were making fun of him. They were laughing at him. And Krishna was also laughing, thinking that, oh, we're all laughing together. So as they were laughing, he was over there laughing, and then they were laughing louder because they thought, oh, he doesn't know why we're laughing at him, that we're laughing at him. And he was laughing louder, thinking, oh, we're all laughing together. And then he's like, what? What are you laughing about? What are you laughing about? And they said, oh, we know the truth. We know that actually Nanda Baba and Yashoda Maya, they are not your real parents. Because look at them, they're so golden complexion. But look at you, you're so dark. You're so dark complexion, shyam colored. So you cannot really be their son. We think that your real mother couldn't take care of you. So she left you in the hole of a tree in any place. And while Nanda Baba was going out into the forest, he heard a baby crying, and he found you in the hole of the tree. And he felt sorry for you, so he brought you home. And Nanda and Yashoda decided, because they felt pity for you, that they would take care of you, because you were an orphan. So that's why you are black and your parents are golden. And Krishna's like, that's not true, that's not true. Yashoda's my mother. And they're like, nope, we know the truth. We know the truth. You were found in the hole of a tree. So they were teasing Krishna. And in the beginning, he was just laughing with them, like, oh yeah, good joke, good joke. But then he looked at his brother, Balaram, for confirmation. And Balaram just said, like that. He just gave confirmation that what the boys are saying, it's true. Oh, Krishna was so upset. He got tears in his eyes. He ran from there. He ran to his house. Normally he would run into his mother's arms when he would go home. This time, he completely neglected her. He ran into his room and started packing his bags. making one bundle in a sheet, and he put it on an end of a stick, and he started to walk out. Yashoda said, "Hey, what's going on? Normally you come and you say hello, but you didn't greet me. You just went into your room and now you're walking out with your bags. What's going on?" He said, "I know the truth. The boys told me the truth today. That you're not my real mother." She said, "What? That's ridiculous. Of course I'm your real mother." And he said, "Even Dauji Bhaiya, my older brother, he also confirmed, and he never tells a lie." She said, No, I swear I'm your real mother." He said, "No, they told me that I was found in the hole of a tree, and you felt sorry for me because I was left there, so you took me in as a mercy case, but I know I'm not really your son, so I'm going to go find my real mother and father." She said, "No, I swear to Narayan, you came from my womb." And he's like, She said, "I swear to God, you came from my womb. We did the umbilical cutting ceremony. This is a sanskar. We did the umbilical, we cut the umbilical cord. You came from my womb." And then Krishna was like, And she said, "Your father and I, we were quite elderly. We couldn't have any child. So we were praying to Shalagram." Nanda and Yashoda worship Narasingha Shalagram. Shalagram is, these black stones. This is a form of the Lord. So we were praying to Shalagram to have a son. And because we were praying to Shalagram, you came as the mercy of Shalagram, Shalagram Prasad. Because you are the mercy of Shalagram, you came black like him. But I swear you came from my womb." Then Krishna was a little bit more curious. Okay. This seems something, I'll accept that. "Anything more?" he asked. She said, "Come with me." So she brought Krishna to the Goshala where they keep all the cows. And there, she told Krishna, she said, "Do you see that baby calf? Newborn baby calf?" "Yes." "What color is he?" "He's black." "Do you see his mother?" "What color is she?" He said, "She's white." "And her father, what color is he?" "He's also white." So then she said, "You see, sometimes in nature it also happens like this. I swear you are my son." And then Krishna ran into her arms, and there was a beautiful meeting of Vatsalya Prem at that time. So, for these reasons also, Krishna is dark complexioned. Krishna also means black. So that is why he is blue. Sometimes they paint him like a sky blue, a very light color. You see in pictures, he's like this color. According to Shastra, that is not his complexion, but they're just trying to make a representation. This is something probably more, but even this is a material color. His color is transcendental. It is the color of tasting all rasa. It is the color of imbibing, tasting all love and affection. The color of enjoying everything, because that's his nature. He is Vishai Bhagavan. And how did he become the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So that's a really good question. That was a question I had when I was 7.5. And I just couldn't understand how it was possible that someone could not have an origin, because everyone has an origin. So how could he be the original? So there are many different understandings of this. From one perspective, we need to understand that everything has a source. Everything has a source. But the original source of everything, according to Shastra, is Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anagir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. That he is the original. There is no one that came before him. He is the source of everything, and he is the prime cause of everything else that has a cause. So he is the original source of everything. As he says in Bhagavad Gita, Aham sarvasya prabhava. Everything is emanating from me. And mata parataram nanyat kincharasti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam prokta sutre manigana iva. Everything is resting upon me like pearls are strung on a thread. There is no truth superior to me. Everything is from me and it is dependent upon me. So, this is the nature of God. In one sense, it's inconceivable. How can something be the source with no other source before him? We read in Srimad Bhagavatam, in one of the 4 essential nutshell verses, Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam, he says, Aham evasam evagre. Before there was only me. Now there is only me. In the future there is only me. That means we're all part of God. Everything is part of God. Nothing is separate or has any separate existence from God. He always existed. So how did he become the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So if we're talking about the idea of God, God always existed, God exists now, and God will always exist in the future. There's no end or beginning to God. So that is the Supreme. And because Krishna is the source of all of that, then he is known as Advai Gyan Tattva, or Advai Gyan Paratattva, the supreme, non-dual, absolute truth, himself. And that is Krishna in Vrindavan, the source. How do we know that? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking about this, and we were discussing this in our secret, Going Beyond Vaikuntha. That Krishna in Vrindavan, because he is experiencing and reacting with his devotees with all of the rasas, he is raso vaisaha. Because of this, he is differentiated from any other avatar or any other form. Even Srimad Narayan himself is only experiencing 2.5 rasas. Otherwise, there's technically no difference between Krishna, Ram, Narasimha, Narayan, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, all other avatars of the Lord. But when you look in terms of rasa, in terms of the expressions of love and affection and taste, then from that perspective, Krishna is definitely tops. Even of the 60 qualities, Krishna has 64. 4 extra. His Venu Madhuri, the sweetness of his flute. No other form has this. Lila Madhuri, the sweetness of his lila. Guna Madhuri, the sweetness of his own qualities. And what was the last one? Oh, hold on. 4 special extra qualities. If you remember, can you please put it down? I just blanked on the last one at that moment because I don't know the shlok for it. Huh? No. Venu Madhuri, Lila Madhuri, Guna Madhuri, and I already said Lila Madhuri. I think his beauty, sweetness of his beauty. I'm trying to remember. Someone will post it. Thank you. So in Vrindavan, Krishna has all qualities and all rasas. Therefore, he is known as Krishna Chandra. Means he is like the full moon. The full moon manifesting every quality and fulfilling all of the desires of all of his devotees in every way. This is Krishna. And only Krishna is able to do this. Even Sri Ram would tell so many, when I come as Krishna, then I will fulfill all of your desires. But as Ram, he would not do so, and he could not do so because he is Maryada Purushottam. So Ram's not going to dance with all of the gopis in the forest in the middle of the night, because that would be against his own function, his nature. But Krishna can do that. He can fulfill all the desires of all of his devotees. He is so merciful. We are hearing this. Prema Madhuri. Yes, thank you, Rekadasi. Oh, Radhika Chandra, Prema. Jai. The sweetness of his love and affection means his reciprocation with his devotees. So, this is the speciality of Krishna. Now, this term, Supreme Personality of Godhead, is very interesting. It's actually quite brilliant. Because there are so many forms of Godhead. Even though they're one in tattva, still they're different in terms of ras. But who has the most personality? That person who has the most qualities. So that personality who has the most qualities, in the fullest expression of those qualities, that is only Krishna. So he has the most personality. the most relationships. Therefore, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. Godhead means in all realm of God. Who has the most personality, the most relationships, the most pastimes, the most sweetness, all of these madhuris, prem madhuri, lila madhuri, guna madhuri, rupa madhuri. I think I missed rupa madhuri. How about that? The sweetness of his form. So, who has the most qualities? That is Krishna. Therefore, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. How did he become? He didn't become. Unless you look at him from the perspective of a Brajabasi. The Brajabasis, especially his eternal associates, the Brajabasis, like Nanda, Yashoda, Radhika, Lalita, Vishaka, Subal, Madhumangal, Sridham, Sudam, all the cows and the trees and all the residents of Vrindavan, they see him as the most sweet, beautiful person. And they see, oh, Krishna was born in Vrindavan, he's growing up in Vrindavan, and how he is so wonderful and so sweet. Everyone automatically is attracted to him because he has the most personality. So he is the supreme personality of Vrindavan, not only of Vrindavan, but in all of the realm of God. So he's the supreme personality of Godhead. And yet we have to address one little issue here, so that Gurudev would be very pleased. But Krishna himself is completely mesmerized by someone who he feels is even superior to himself in all ways. So Gurudev affectionately nicknamed her the superior personality of Godhead, and that is none other than the Guru of Prem, of Krishna himself. Radhika Premer Guru Ami Shishyanata. She is my Guru of Prem, and I am simply her dancing pupil. And she makes me dance in so many novel, new ways. So this is Srimati Radhika Vrishabhananandini Sri Radha Thakurani. Gurudev called her the superior personality of Godhead. And yet we understand from the Tattvic perspective that Krishna is the original. So he is known as the supreme personality of Godhead. How did he become? Well, if you look from the perspective of Brajabasi, he became. Because they see that he's like an ordinary child. And that is the sweetness of Braj. Not about Lila, human-like pastimes. But according to Tattva, Siddhanta, and Rasavichar as well, he has the most personality of any form. Therefore, he is the supreme personality in all of the realm of God. That is Krishna. And how did he become? From the Tattvic perspective, we can say he did not become, he always was, he always is. That is the nature of God. He always was and always is the supreme personality of Godhead, and always will be. This is his nature. It's a little cold. 1 second. He always was and is and will be the supreme personality of Godhead. So he didn't necessarily become that, just like he didn't, in one sense, he was never created. He is the original, the creator of everything else. So I hope I've been able to answer these questions satisfactorily a little bit. And thank you for your wonderful, deep and beautiful questions. We have a few minutes and I would like to go beyond Vaikuntha with you a little bit. I know we only have 10 minutes. So, praying in the dust of the lotus feet of our Srila Gurudev, the commentator, and Sri Sanatan Goswamipada, the compiler of Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita, which this commentary is based on. Praying to the lotus feet of Sanatan Goswami and the words of Raghunath Das Goswami. Vairaga Juga Bhakti Rasam Prayatnai Apayanan Mam Anubhikshamandam Kripam Budirya Paradukuduki Sanatanastam Prabhumashrayami. Begging in the dust of their lotus feet that may even a particle of their moods, which are present within these pages, manifest within our hearts. So Srila Gurudev was speaking about sarvagyata, the symptom of being all-knowing, and mugdata, the symptom of being forgetful. How the Supreme Lord Himself, who knows everything, who is aware of every particle in all of His creation, who is also not separate from that, which not even a blade of grass can move without His knowledge and His permission. Not even an electron, nothing. Everything. He knows every intimate working of His entire creation. That same personality in Vrindavan, due to love and affection, becomes like a small child or a best friend. Mother Yashoda will chase him with a stick, or his best friend will wrestle with him and slam him in the dust. Or Srimati Radhika will turn and walk the other way. I don't want to see you, I don't want to talk to you. And he will come running after her, begging for her mercy. And he forgets everything else. So this is mugdhata. By love and affection, he forgets everything. So Srila Gurudev was saying that he's simultaneously all-knowing and at the same time mugdhata. So Gurudev was asking, who will hear our prayers if he's completely absorbed in lila and pastime? And so he's explaining here. Yesterday we read to this point. That just as Ramachandra was crying for Sita, Krishna also really cries for Srimati Radhika. Someone who's of the opinion that Krishna is God, and they have this mood that He is the source of everything, and they have a mood of even fear toward Him. They will think, oh, He's not really crying, He's just acting. But anyone whose heart is saturated with prema, with love and affection, like the Brajabasis, premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena, they will see that he is actually like a young boy, Narabat Lila, human-like pastimes, weeping and crying in Vrindavan, and they won't think that he is God. The Brajabasis never think that Krishna is God. So we will have to one day come to that point, not artificially, but through following the instruction of Guru by taking shelter of Harinam and weeping and crying for Krishna's service, for a mood of intimacy, that one day we will naturally forget that He is God, and we will only think of Him as our dear most beloved, like the Brajabasis think of Krishna. So Krishna becomes, as he's crying after Radhika, he becomes hers only, completely controlled and subdued by her love and affection. And she will tell him, today you should decorate my hair. And so after leaving Rasalila, Krishna left all of those millions of gopis and chased after her. And then he came just nearby here, just next door to Sringarvat, and there tried to pacify her by braiding her hair and putting flowers in her hair. So by this he is known as Keshava, who is decorating the hair of Srimati Radhika. Some will think, oh, Keshava is he who killed the Keshi demon. But there are other deep rasic meanings of every name of Krishna. Different meanings. Narasingha, Matsya, Kurma, everything. They all have other Braj Rasik meanings, very deep. Which, as one is endeavoring to go deeper into their sadhan bhajan, under the guidance of any bhajan shiksha guru, they will receive and understand as they are going deeper into their service of Sri Harinam Prabhu. These will also manifest within their hearts and by the grace of Guru and Vaisnava. So then she tells Krishna, I'm unable to walk any further. And he takes her on his shoulders. All of these things are mugdata. He forgets that he's Bhagavan or anything. And he's only trying to pacify Srimati Radhika. Somehow trying to serve her. And this increases his transcendental bliss millions and millions of times. Therefore Gurudev says this is the very pinnacle of both rasa and ras and Bhagavata. Means his godhood. Ras and Bhagavata. The very pinnacle of that, his nature as the Supreme, is that he is serving Radhika. Why? Because what is the function of God? To be the supreme enjoyer. And by this, his supreme enjoyment is increasing millions of times more than even if someone is just completely serving him and doing whatever he wants. But by her doing that, by her behaving in such a way, with man, this is a high level of prem, sneham, man, pranaya rag, anurag, bhav, mahabhav, modan, madan. So it's a level of prem. Man is not something which is against Krishna. This is increasing his transcendental pleasure. She's only made of that. So Gurudev is saying this is the pinnacle of both. Ras means his transcendental nectar relationships, and Bhagavata, of his godhood. Both. Regarding the older gopis, they all desired that Krishna would become their son, and all of the cows desired that Krishna would become their calf. Krishna saw that drinking the milk of one mother would not fill his stomach. So this is the nature of love. Real love makes Krishna greedy. If you develop love for Krishna in your heart, he will be greedy to come and taste that love. That's why he runs from house to house in Vrindavan and steals butter. Because it is the manifestation of the love of these gopis who are churning that yogurt to make butter. As they're churning, they're only thinking of Krishna. Oh, I'm making this for Krishna. Their hearts are overflowing with love and affection. And they're singing, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Remembering all of Krishna's pastimes, which are present within his names, as they are churning, and their hearts are overflowing with transcendental love and affection, praying for Krishna, and entering into what they are doing. So that butter is the manifestation. It is like the cream of their love. As they are churning, that is like the essence of their love and affection coming in this form. And they're only hoping and praying, oh Krishna, I hope you will come and take this today. This is their offering of love and affection manifesting in the form of butter. So Krishna cannot help himself. He is controlled by love and affection. Real love, transcendental love and affection. Prem controls and captivates him. And he becomes subjugated by that prem. So much so that he cannot help himself to go from house to house and steal the butter from the houses of these gopis. He cannot help himself. He's completely, hopelessly bound by this love and affection. He becomes controlled by it. And that is the speciality of Vrindavan. We don't see that anywhere else. But in Vrindavan, Krishna has put down his guard, his godhood. Because it is his private place. His most internal chamber where he doesn't have to play the role of God. He can just be himself. Although he is God, yes, but in Vrindavan, he can just be with love and affection. That love which comes about with the mood of fear, which has any mood of force. And those prayers which come with that. Oh my God, you're so great. If I don't pray to you, then I will be guilty of aparad. I will be guilty of offense. I may go to hell if I don't serve you. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. You are great. You are wonderful. That kind of mood does not attract him so much. He feels that it is made weak because there's an element of force. So it can't really be pure love. Love is not forced. It is natural, spontaneous from the heart. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to awaken this kind of love in the hearts of everyone. Prem Ras, you see, he has one arm up, one arm down. Prem Ras Niryash Korite Ashvadan. With this hand up, he is tasting, receiving this mood of loving affection for Krishna, tasting this nectar of Krishna Prem. And from this, it is so tasteful, so wonderful, so sweet, so exciting that he wants to share it with the world. Raga Marga Bhakti Loke Korite Pracharam. You see his other hand, beautiful big hand, distributing this Raga Marga Bhakti. That all jivas of this world should have this mood, like the Brajavasis, of spontaneous, loving affection for Krishna. This is Raga Marga Bhakti. Gaurite Pracharan, he is preaching this to the world. So we see that our Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga, our Acharyas, this is really their function, to awaken this spontaneous loving affection for Krishna in the hearts of everyone of this world. coming to give what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. So from here, because now it's getting late, we will end and we will continue tomorrow. Thank you so much for your beautiful questions. They actually led directly into the subject which we are discussing in Going Beyond Vaikuntha. So Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupana Guru Varga ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Govinda Bolo Radhe 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe Shri Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai 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 Shri Radhe Jai Jai Shri Radhe Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam Gaura Premanande
Hari Hari Bo.
Thank you very much for being with us today, and also for your wonderful questions, which brought back so many sweet memories of Srila Gurudev's Harikatha and the Harikatha of our Guru Varga. Thank you for engaging us in our Guru Seva. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.